Welcome to the 50th episode of Retire Mentorship, your mentor to and through retirement. I'm your host, Freeman Lindy, certified financial planner. We made it to 50 episodes, and it has been a blast. I appreciate all of you who have been along for the whole ride, and all of you who continue to show up week after week as new listeners. For this 50th episode, I have a special announcement. I am writing a book. It is releasing in February on the 22nd. That's 2/22/22 for those of you that love good dates like I do. And the book is called 3D Retirement Income. Creating a retirement income that outpaces inflation, outlives you, and outperforms others. Again, that book is coming out on February 22nd in hardcover, paperback, and in digital formats. And you can pre-order it now if you'd like to. You can go to 3dretirementincome.com, which will take you to the main page. You can pre-order it there. It's also available for Kindle pre-order on Amazon right now, with the pre-orders for the paperback and hardcover coming soon. The book does cover a lot of the topics we've covered on this podcast, but I wanted to make it in a format that's accessible to more people and organized in a way that flows better from a thought perspective. It does include a lot of material that we haven't talked about in the podcast, and altogether, it really lays out how people can retire successfully and stay successfully retired. It's geared specifically toward people who are, within 10 years of retirement on either side, either before or after retirement. And so if that's you, I'd highly recommend picking up a copy and reading through it or listening to it yourself. Or if you are part of my younger audience and you like what we've been talking about and you would like to make sure that your parents or other people could retire successfully, you might consider putting them onto it as well. I don't want to make this whole podcast episode just a promotional for the book. So what we're going to do for the rest of this episode, and we'll talk a little bit more about the book at the end, but for the rest of this episode, I'm going to read you the introduction to the book. And that way you'll get a flavor for what the book is about. And if it piques your interest, you again can pre-order a copy. So without further ado, let's jump into 3D Retirement Income and the introduction to the book. 3D Retirement Income, creating a retirement income that outpaces inflation, outlives you, and outperforms others, by Freeman Lindy, CFP, EA. Introduction: the principal problem, solving the right problem in retirement. Principal: noun, an original sum of money invested. Adjective: first in order of importance, main. Two doors. Every one of us will walk through one of two doors. There's no door number 3. There are no other options. You and I will pass through one of these two doors. The doors are the outcomes of our retirement. At the end of your retirement, there are only two outcomes. You will face one or the other. Door number 1, the money outlives the people. You and your spouse pass away with money to spare. You knew you wouldn't run out of money, and thus your retirement had considerably less worry and stress. You leave a substantial sum to your cherished children and charities, and a legacy of generosity, peace, and joy. Door 2, the people outlive the money. You and your spouse run out of money. You live the last few years of your retirement on a fixed income of Social Security, perhaps an annuity or pension. The annuity income was once substantial, but the rising cost of living has chipped away at it, and now you're barely able to make ends meet. You will leave nothing to your cherished children and charities, except a legacy of stress and poverty. There are no other options. Either you will outlive your money, or your money will outlive you. If given a choice, choose door number 1. Here's the good news. You do have a choice. You can choose door 1. But that election does not happen in your 80s. It happens now in your 50s and 60s. Choose now to have your money outlive you. How? How do we ensure today that our money outlives us and that we both retire successfully and stay successfully retired? We will get to the solution. Spoiler alert, the answer is 3D retirement income. But before we explore the solution, we must first correctly frame the problem. As Ursula K. Le Guin said, there are no right answers to wrong questions. What then is the principal problem? What is the issue? What is the central predicament we are trying to avoid? The nest egg. Gone are the days when most people retire on a pension. Thankfully, as we'll discuss later. Most will get Social Security as a base layer of income, but it was never designed to provide a total retirement income. There's a gap between monthly Social Security income and monthly expenses. That gap must be filled by withdrawals from retirement savings. We know this, and so we save a portion of our earned income throughout our lives to build up an account of our retirement nest egg. We save to create a giant sum of invested money, our retirement principal. Saving into a bank is insufficient for creating a sizable nest egg. We save into 401ks, IRAs, Roth accounts, and others to gain tax advantages. Our savings are not just saved, but invested in stock and fixed income funds inside these accounts. The compounding effect of investments over our working lives turns our savings into a pile of money we believe we can live on. Our nest egg, our retirement principal, is essential to us. It represents our life savings and becomes our livelihood. Our instinct is to protect it, and we are taught to do as much. We are taught that life comes in two phases. Accumulation. We must accumulate as much retirement principal as possible in our working years. The focus is on savings and growth. Invest money in stock funds and let the compounding of the stock market take over. We don't need the money until retirement, so even when the accounts do go down in a bad market, we have time for it to recover. We may have 70, 80, or even 90 to 95% of our retirement investments in stock funds, with the remaining in fixed income funds, bonds, treasury bills, etc. Decumulation. In our retirement years, we must decumulate everything we have saved in an orderly fashion. The focus is on withdrawals and safety. We must protect everything we have grown and ensure we don't lose it. We need the money now, and we don't have time to recover if we lose it in a market drop. We reduce the money we have invested in stocks to 60, 50, or even 40%, and invest the bulk of our retirement principal in safe fixed income investments. We build up our retirement principal in our working years, climbing up the mountain. Then we spend down our principal in retirement, walking down the other side. We are taught that our main problem in retirement is the loss of retirement principal. We cannot afford to lose money in the markets, so we must invest it in safe fixed income investments. We have saved up our nest egg. We cannot lose it. We should limit our exposure in the stock market to protect our life savings. According to conventional thought, our principal problem is the loss of retirement principal. The principal problem. Conventional thought is wrong. Our principal problem is not the loss of retirement principal. Our principal problem is the loss of retirement income. Our expenses in life do not come in a lump sum, whether working or retired. We cannot prepay for a lifetime supply of groceries. We do not hit a lifetime healthcare deductible and have all of our expenses covered from that point forward. We do not pay for vehicle fuel once and drive forever. Even after paying off our mortgage on a house, property taxes, homeowners insurance, and maintenance are ongoing expenses, not lump sum expenses. Expenses in retirement are a series of ongoing expenditures, monthly and annual. They're not one-time lump sum payments. They're continuous and increasing outflows. Thus, we must stop focusing on preserving a lump sum retirement principal. Instead, we must start focusing on creating an ongoing retirement income. In accumulation, we know that we must invest in stock market funds. They are the best way to get long-term growth, even though we must weather some downs to get the ups. We know that we must invest for the long term throughout our career, which we believe to be the day we retire. 30 to 40 years of working is certainly a long term. But then we shift. We are taught that we must now save and preserve the accumulated money. Investing in stocks is risky. Therefore, we must switch to a safe fixed income. It's time to challenge the notion of safe. Suppose you follow conventional thought. You invest in stock funds throughout your working years and then shift to a mostly fixed income in retirement. You fear a 30 to 50% loss in the stock market and not enough time to regain the losses. You load up on fixed income for retirement. From the day you retire to the day you pass, your retirement portfolio never loses more than 10%. It is, quote unquote, safe. Mission accomplished, right? You never, quote, lost money in the market, end quote. 3 or 4 major market drops happened while you were retired, but you never experienced a huge loss. A successful retirement portfolio by many measures, except one. You ran out of money. Your safe fixed income investments generated a small return that could not offset your withdrawals. Moreover, it was overwhelmed by the tripling cost of everything you wanted and needed to buy throughout your retirement. The rising costs were imperceptible at first, but the compounding devastates on the expense side in the same way that it builds on the savings side. Because the low returns of the fixed income were not enough to cover even your starting expenses, you always needed to pull a little bit from your retirement principal. Before long, you were required to withdraw larger and larger amounts from the principal of your retirement as your expenses grew faster than your income. Because your principal is shrinking each year, the interest it generated each year also shrank. Rising withdrawals, combined with shrinking returns, created a vicious cycle, accelerating your portfolio's demise. Without ever losing money in the market, you lost all your money and were confined to living the rest of your days on Social Security alone. Is your retirement principal safe if you run out of money? Is your retirement plan, which revolves around avoiding market losses, successful if you lose all your money to the rising cost of living? Calling your retirement portfolio safe simply because you won't lose money in a market crash is like calling a morbidly obese person healthy simply because they don't currently have the flu. Your lack of problems in the short term does not ensure your long-term success. Even if you have no short-term market losses, you can still run out of money. Even if you have no flu-like symptoms, you can still die of a heart attack. The principal problem is not protecting retirement principal. The principal problem is creating a retirement income. Break the mindset of protecting your nest egg from market losses. This should not be your primary concern. Your mortal enemy is not a drop in the stock market over the next few years. Your mortal enemy is the rising cost of everything you need and want to buy over your lifetime. Your mortal enemy, inflation. Inflation, the rising cost of everything we need and want to buy, is an insidious evil. It goes unnoticed in the short term. We rarely notice its effects month over month, even year over year. Especially during times of low inflation, it doesn't faze us. From 2011 through 2020, the average annual inflation was 1.73%. When, over the course of a decade, you see the price of a dollar menu item at McDonald's go from $1 to $1.18, you don't panic. It's not going to break the bank. Indeed, it would take 40 years for the prices to double at that pace. Most people wouldn't have a problem if inflation remained at that rate. Over the average 30-year retirement, a dollar menu item would go up to $1.68. No problem. But we knew the good times couldn't last. We were all reminded that inflation still exists when it went from 1.4% in 2020 to over 6% in 2021. At 6% inflation, prices of everything will double in less than 12 years. Over a 30-year retirement, costs will sextuple. Your McDouble went from $1 to $6. Is your safe fixed income portfolio or fixed annuity going to keep up with that? Thankfully, no one expects 6% inflation will continue for 30 years. It won't because it can't. Price increases of that much for that long cannot be sustained. While we don't need to assume massive increases in prices, we cannot take the small changes we've experienced over the last decade for granted. Even before the price hikes of 2021, I've been warning about clients about the effects of inflation. Even at long-term historical rates of 2.5% to 3%, the prices of everything you want and need to buy will double and perhaps triple in your retirement lifetime. Sure, your fixed income portfolio can generate enough income to buy a $4 box of cornflakes. And perhaps you'll still be okay when the price is $5 and $6. But what about when it hits $8, $10, or even $12 per box? The effects of inflation are far more dangerous than a stock market decline. We're taught to fear market crashes, not inflation. Market crashes are significant events. They draw headlines and doomsayers. Every time it happens, people declare, the world is ending. This time is different. We won't get through this. The 24-hour news cycle loves market crashes. They won't let us forget them. They make them the worse by perpetuating the fear. There's a constant barrage of pundits and talking heads announcing the end of life as we know it. We notice when the market crashes. We see stock market indexes go down 20, 30, or 40%. And if we are invested in those stock funds, we see our portfolios lose hundreds of thousands of dollars. Crashes make noise. We notice. And we are taught to avoid them by investing in fixed income while in retirement. Inflation is quiet. We ignore. An increase from $4 to $4.12 doesn't make any headlines. We don't notice it. We don't fear it. But here's the critical difference. Stock market crashes are always temporary. Consumer price increases are always permanent. Let me say that again. Stock market crashes are always temporary. Consumer price increases are always permanent. Every time the stock markets have crashed, and it happens all the time, they have rebounded and reached new heights. Every single time. Equity markets will continue to crash. It happens once every 5 years on average. Common as dirt. You'll live through 5 or 6 crashes during a 30-year retirement, and 2 or 3 will be massive. They will always rebound. Equity market crashes are always temporary. When was the last time you saw prices come back down to stay? When Subway got rid of their $5 footlong, did they replace it with a $4 footlong? We may be happy that we are no longer chanting $5 footlong, but we aren't happy that a footlong is now $8 or more. When prices rise, the increase is permanent. We can create a strategy to weather the temporary declines in stock markets, but there is no strategy for the temporary increases in prices because they're never temporary. We focus too much on protecting our retirement principal from temporary market declines. We focus too little on creating a retirement income to outpace the permanent rise in prices. Billions of dollars are spent every year to encourage people's fear of temporary market declines and to solve that problem with fixed annuities, permanent life insurance, and other fixed products. The fixed products market is highly profitable for insurance companies and banks. They make those profits on the backs of people who are focusing on the wrong thing, protecting the retirement principal instead of creating a retirement income. This book will show you how to create an income strategy that will help you weather temporary market declines, but more importantly, it will help you defeat your mortal enemy. You won't live off your nest egg. You will turn your nest egg into an income, and you will need to make sure that income will not run out. You need 3D retirement income. You need your retirement income to have 3 dimensions. 1. Direction. Income that rises faster than the cost of living. 2. Duration. Income that lasts longer than you and yours. 3. Diversion. Income that flexes better than the stock market. When your retirement plan includes 3D retirement income as a strategy, you'll be better prepared for anything and everything retirement can throw at you. You won't have to worry about inflation because your income grows faster than your costs. You won't have to worry about living too long because your income will outlive you no matter your lifespan. And you won't have to worry about market crashes, unexpected expenses, and monkey wrenches because you'll have the flexibility to deal with all of them. We will unpack each of the 3 dimensions to explain how we succeed in that domain. We also explore ways commonly sold to people as solutions that do not solve the problem, but rather create other issues. We will sum up the 3 dimensions in a simple and effective strategy to turn your nest egg into a reliable income for you while also preserving it to leave a financial legacy to your cherished children and charities. Warning: when you read simple, do not infer easy. Anyone who has ever tried to eat vegetables daily and avoid sugar and processed oils knows that just because a strategy is simple doesn't mean it's easy. 3D retirement income is a simple strategy, but it's hard. We'll share 3 critical aspects of making the 3D retirement income work. 1. Investment and investor returns. This is the most significant mental shift we will need to make for this strategy to work. 2. The 4 horsemen. They are the behavioral mistakes that cause most people to fail in this strategy. And 3. 7 principles of success. We'll share the 7 principles that you need to adopt to make this strategy work. Whether you're retiring in the next 10 years or have recently retired, 3D retirement income will give you the most security and opportunity for a successful retirement. It will help you retire successfully and stay successfully retired. Introduction summary. The last page of each chapter will summarize the key points of the chapter. These summaries will reinforce what you've just read and drive home the takeaways. It will also serve as an easy way for you to return to the book in the future, read all the summaries, and remember the central messages of the book in about 10 to 15 minutes of reading. Introduction summary. We will all face one of two outcomes in retirement. 1, the money outlives the people, or 2, the people outlive the money. We must choose today if we want outcome 1. We are taught that we should invest in risky stocks in the accumulation phase of life. We are also taught to switch to safe, fixed income in the decumulation phase of life. Fixed income is not safe if we run out of money. Decumulation can be a dangerous strategy if you live too long. We need to stop focusing on protecting our retirement principal and instead focus on creating a retirement income. We need a better plan. We need 3D retirement income. That was the introduction to my new book, 3D Retirement Income, coming out again on February 22nd, 2022. You can pick up a copy in whatever format you like the best. It'll come out in hardcover, in paperback, and in ebooks on iBooks or on Kindle. And we will have an audiobook as well, although that will come out a little bit later. You can pre-order the book now for discounts. It'll be cheaper to get it now than if you buy it when it comes out. You can do that on 3dretirementIncome.com. That'll get you to the main page where you can read more about it and then click on the link to pre-order it. If you pre-order it through that site, you won't be charged until the book is released. And so you can just pre-order it now to save that price and the special pre-order pricing. Or you can go to Amazon and pre-order the Kindle version right now. The pre-orders for the hardcover and paperback are coming out as well, but they're not available yet. However, if you pre-order it from the 3D Retirement Income site and you enter the code RETIREMENTORSHIP in the coupon box, you can get an additional 20% off whatever format you want to order. Again, that's only at 3dretirementIncome.com. Enter the special promo code, which I'm only talking about here on this podcast, RETIREMENTORSHIP. It's not case sensitive, so it doesn't matter how you put it in there, but that will give you an additional 20% off. So only you, my faithful listeners to the podcast, will be able to get that discount. I'm not posting it on social media or anywhere else, so it's a special exclusive club for you. And again, you won't actually get charged until the book comes out, so you can go ahead and pre-order it just to lock in that price and that special discount price, which will go away after the book airs. So if you're listening to this late and the book is already out, you can't use that promo code anymore. But if you are an active listener and listening on time, feel free to put in that code and get whatever copy you want. We also have a number of bonuses that we're going to be offering for pre-ordering it and for getting your copy of it. There'll be some additional webinars, some forums that will help you figure some of these things out. And so all of that, we'll have another announcement for all those different bonuses when we've officially completed the package. That will also add quite a bit of value to your overall retirement planning and creating your 3D retirement income. So again, 3dretirementIncome.com. There'll be a link in the show notes of this podcast that you can just follow straight there and pick up a copy in whatever format you like. I really appreciate your support. If this podcast overall has been helpful to you and you are looking for ways to continue to support the podcast, obviously I do all of it, so all of it comes back to me. There's, of course, the Retire Membership monthly subscription that you can do for the cost of a latte a week or latte a month. You can be an ongoing supporter of the show. Or if you're one of those people that really just likes to get as much value as possible for any money they spend, go ahead and pick up a copy of the book. And again, if you're not in your 50s or 60s, that's really what the book is geared toward, but you have parents in that category and you want to make sure that they retire successfully and stay successfully retired, right? You don't want them to move back in with you at some point in the future. Then it might be worth it for them to read or listen to the book. And so it can be an easy gift for people in the generation above you if you're not quite there yourself. So we'd love to help as many people as we can with this message. Go ahead and go to the website and order. Really appreciate you listening to it. Hopefully that even just the introduction here has been helpful in reframing the way that you think about retirement and what we're trying to solve for. And we hope to see you next week on the Retirement Mentorship Podcast. This podcast is educational only and is not intended to be investment, legal, or tax advice or recommendations, whether direct or incidental. Again, this is not investment advice. Consult your financial, tax, and legal professionals for specific advice related to your specific situation. Never take investment advice from someone who doesn't know you and your specific situation. All opinions expressed in this podcast are the opinions of the speakers expressing them. All performance referenced is historical and is no guarantee of future results. All indices are unmanaged and may not be invested into directly. Retirement Mentorship is not affiliated with or controlled by any registered investment advisor, broker-dealer, or other financial services company.